Were you invited to Uganda?
No.
Had you been invited, would you participate?
No.
Why not?
Why should I?
I mean,
if the regime was running the affairs of the country, was managing politics in a civilized way, yes, would respect such invitations. But if you put your boot on the necks of people, on the opposition, why would people respect that kind of invitation?
What does 34 mean to you as someone who participated in the struggle?
If General Museveni had wanted to leave a legacy, he would have managed his retirement a while back, either 2001 or 2006. It was not yet too late. If he had wanted to leave a legacy for himself as an individual, but also to leave an organization that would live long after him, in this case the movement, decade after decade, he would have managed it. At this point in time, my belief is that the moment he gets out of power, one, I don't think he's going to leave a positive legacy. Two, I think the organization which he heads is going to disintegrate because it's been built around himself as an individual.
Uganda muri milioni 46 abalya sente za mwezi zonna tebawera mitwalo 3 na kitundu mbagambidde wano nti eyo gye bayita time bomb. One day olunaku lumu bwe luti omuyaya ajja kuvaayo amobilizing abantu ba Uganda. We shall see fire kubanga abantu laba gye basula nti ndinatete mu Kampala laba abantu gye babeera. One day olunaku lumu bwe luti omuyaye nga temumumanyi nako gyavudde ajja kuyingira mu bantu ayogere nga bibakwatako nga bibadde bibaluma abamobilizing tutandika okweyokya. This can be avoided. Ndeta statement njikolenga kwendi njala jiddamu ga jendifa natandika kwogera nkomyawo nkugambye embeera abantu gye bali walone kubira twalabye eddala Masaka kera nabagamba kyekimu sente zikuli ziruwa tuseerera emmotoka zitomera abantu bafa. One day nkubulidde ebyolaba ebyo gye bayita setting up a time bomb mwe muloza zino za ADF zokka neyo kati waliwo atandise batega bomb abantu betuludde pain abantu batuuka ku mutima. One day omuyaya laba lyekkubu Masaka emukubye eyise one day omuyaya ajja kuvaayo abantu abamobilizing ekibuga bakyokye ate mugamba nga tutwabala nkomyawo musajja Masaka mujjeyo temugamba nga tetwakyogerako. You are setting up a time bomb. People are going to get tired one day. Bagenda kweyokera ddala. Let services be taken to the people. Service delivery. Natete watu walabika. Gwe tuita kukungulu wano. Achamaze kiveeko Galumba ne Tanzania ne London. Ne abantu waje basula. I'm telling you one day. Bomu egenda kututulikira. Siya ADF. Neye yaba.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, to all Ugandans in the diaspora and Ugandans at home. It is 8:18 a.m. here in Boston, Massachusetts, United States of America. My name's William Nyende, a grandson of Yekoni Achibedi Zawamuzali, one of the first 3 black men on the Legislative Council just before Uganda became a country we know today. And I believe that was even before independence. I am going to give a report, an independent report of Musisi's, Lieutenant Colonel Frank Musisi's visit at Entebbe Airport. Disclaimer: I am not a United States Army spokesperson. Disclosure. I am an independent information analyst and a behavior analyst. This is what I do for fun. I have so many YouTube videos that I have been producing to this effect. Now, so the summary of my report is as follows. I believe Uganda, the government of Uganda, owes Lieutenant Colonel Musisi an apology. And I'm going to give you the reasons why. I also believe, I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubt, that whatever I'm going to say now should reflect on Lieutenant Colonel Musisi's personal file as a promotion record. In my humble estimation, he delivered, he produced that which an American soldier is expected to deliver. So now, let me explain, discuss the case. So, what is Entebbe Airport? Who is Entebbe Airport? What does it do? Well, Entebbe Airport, and how does it do it? Entebbe Airport is the international airport of Uganda, a country called Uganda in East Africa. And if you want more information about Entebbe Airport, all you need to do is to Google, okay? Just Google the following words: Entebbe Airport reviews. In summary, you're going to see what Entebbe Airport is, what services it gives, and how it gives services. In short, in one of the reviews, I'm paraphrasing, at Entebbe Airport, the restrooms, also known as toilets, smell. They smell like a neglected animal farm. A neglected animal farm. There's no water to flush the toilets. There are also several reviews. Some of them are actually even pinpoint airline names. Many where the attendants of airlines and airport officers, immigration officers, are reported to be extremely rude. Extremely rude. Now, that is your Entebbe Airport and its services. So, who is Lieutenant Colonel Frank Musisi? Perhaps we should, for simplicity purposes, address him as Mr. Musisi, because as Ugandans, we first saw this young man in Uganda, leaving Uganda to go to California in the United States for further studies. During his course of stay of over 30 years in the United States, close to 30 years in the United States, he managed to save some little money out of his savings. While other people save money to build storied houses, this young man, Musisi, built a hospital in Kalangala. At that time, there was no health center to look after the sick in Kalangala. These were the days of the HIV/AIDS scourge. The young man saved his small monies, and he managed to put up a hospital in Kalangala district, in Kalangala. And so what services has the young man given to Uganda to begin with? Health services. Health services. And these services have been given to the people in Uganda, and they have been blessed by the government of Uganda. Services to the country of Uganda. So what services has this man given the United States? A place where he came, he grabbed the opportunities of going back to school, the opportunity of joining the army of the United States. He worked his way up the ranks. It took him close to 20 years to become a lieutenant colonel. His lieutenant colonel rank did not come to his mouth on a silver spoon, the way we do it back home in Uganda. He has served the United States with dignity and sacrifice. He has served Uganda with love and care for the sick in Kalangala. Now, the case. 7 points I'm going to use to discuss this case. 1, stress before, during, and after. 2, passport confiscation. 3, deportation threat. 4, peaceful conflict resolution. 5, legal entry with passport. 6, peaceful exit of Uganda. 7, a soldier with dignity. Number 1, stress before. Because he's a soldier, he has, and of that high rank, he was accorded duties by the United States of America, the Army of the United States of America. He's a trained leader, a professional, and on his busy schedule, he managed to find time to check on his project, the hospital in Kalangala. So he comes full of stress, which is good stress, serving the United States, and also in absence serving Uganda, because he's the one managing that hospital in Kalangala. Now, at the airport, he decides not to go through the VIP lounge. He goes through the ordinary immigration side, for where the ordinary people check in. Now, before he came in, he had information which he thought was rumor, which he thought was bibozi-bozi in one of his discussions. That's how he calls it. He thought it was bibozi-bozi. He didn't know, and I'm one of those people who fed him with this information. He thought I was telling him bibozi-bozi. To his surprise, he could not believe his eyes. Now, like the man I know, he had to say something. You know, when you have a mouth, you speak. This is one of the privileges of America, freedom of speech. Now, when he commented on the service, he had paid a visa for $50. Of course, they did not like it. Nobody likes to be told that your restroom is smelling like a neglected animal farm. Of course, they are going to come up with ways of pushing back. They are going to say you are abusive. So, in a nutshell, that was the stress building up on top of the stress he came in with. Now, as if that was not enough, they decide, the immigration officer decides to confiscate his passport. Now, did the immigration officer reach out into Mr. Musisi's pocket and grab the passport? No. He is a man who follows orders. When you get to an immigration officer, you pull out your passport so you can be checked in. And that's exactly what he did. So this immigration officer decides to confiscate the passport. Now, tell me, the environment is not so pleasing to the eye, not to mention the nose, and now your thing of value is being confiscated. Isn't that stress? Isn't that more stress? As then, on top of that, the immigration officer threatened him with deportation. We are going to deport you. You man, sit there. Now, this man they are telling, sit there. Normally he's the one who tells the other people, sit there. This man they were putting chini ya ulizi. He's the one who normally puts other people chini at chini ya ulizi. Okay? But they decide to do that on him. He complied. Okay? 3 hours into this type of stress, where he comes in with stress builds up, passport confiscated, a deportation threat. Now, number 4, he looks for ways of how to resolve this conflict. And he chose a peaceful way of how to resolve the conflict, because he had evaluated the situation like a trained soldier and found out that he was not going to use logic to convince the immigration officers that they needed to accord him good service. And now, because of his method of peaceful conflict resolution, which included saying sorry, they took advantage of him saying sorry, even to put him down and treat him like a dog. Now, this is a man who is serving the United States of America, responsible for troops in Europe and in Africa. He's also serving Uganda as a hospital manager, founder. So he's serving the entire world globally. And this immigration officer, who thought had a lot of authority, decides to treat him like a dog. He said, okay, thank you very much for treating me like a dog. Let me also get to the level of a dog and show you that I can rise from ashes. That's what he did. He managed to create a peaceful conflict resolution. At that time, he had been given back his passport. And that meant he entered Uganda with a passport legally. So that's what I call legal entry. So number 1, stress. Number 2, passport confiscation. Number 3, deportation threat. Number 4, peaceful conflict resolution. Number 5, legal entry in the country called Uganda. While in Uganda, he reported the case to higher authorities. This is what he told me. The authorities responsible for the airports in Uganda, I think is the director, I don't remember his name, reported the case. We see this, we see him hinting on this on an occasion where a party was thrown, where the ex-Prime Minister of Uganda, Entebbe Airport, also spoke, where I think it is Prince Wasaja also spoke, where a lady asked him a question. He said, Lieutenant Colonel Musisi, or Mr. Musisi, said that he had reported the issue to the authorities, and they promised that they were going to work on it. It's possible that one of these 3 might happen. Either those unfit officers might be fired or transferred or trained to become better employees. One of those 3 must happen. And on that platform where the ex-Prime Minister of Uganda, Entebbe Airport, spoke, he vented out his frustrations. Look for that video and watch it. And he explained the type of image that was portrayed by holding and confiscating, detaining a U.S. soldier at the rank of a lieutenant colonel, and confiscating the consequences of confiscating a U.S. passport. Now that is the legal entry. The second platform he got was at Pastor Kayanja's church. Now, I know that many people like me are going to say, now why are you bringing in Pastor Kayanja? He has issues. There is no person who is aware of those issues better than me. I know, based on the issues that have been in the papers, perhaps Pastor Kayanja was not coming to Mr. Musisi with clean hands. But for sure, Mr. Musisi went to Pastor Kayanja with clean hands. And as far as I know, Pastor Kayanja, he has a heart, a caring heart for those who are hurting in the world. In fact, his ministry mission used to go as follows: ministering love in a hurting world. So Pastor Kayanja gets an opportunity to introduce this young man. This is what he said. This young man, I'm paraphrasing, went to the United States, made small monies, and he built a hospital in Kalangala. Not only that, he started rising in the ranks in the U.S. Army. And he has been looking after the sick, specifically those suffering from AIDS. This I'm paraphrasing, but those were the words of Pastor Kayanja. The next thing I heard, he had exited the country peacefully, and rumor has it they gave him a VIP exit. So I got on the phone, looked for him, because I was concerned. The next thing I had, the next time I heard from him, he was in the United Kingdom. So now I confirmed that he had exited peacefully. Not only peacefully, but with dignity. What type of dignity? Of not bribing, of an American soldier who does not bribe an immigration officer in a foreign country. That is dignity. So those are the facts. Those are the facts. Those are the facts. Now, with all those facts, don't you think the government of Uganda owes him an apology? Don't you think this type of record is a record of a hero, which should be reflected as a promotion record on his military file? I mean, think about it. The man used his psychology. It was the battlefield was in the mind of all these guys, but he came out on top, psychologically speaking. Now, if he could win the battle even without a gun, what if we give him a gun? Some of these people who hold guns, we can't even reason with them. They just take out guns, boo, 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 boo. This guy battled with the mindsets of Tibu Habura, mindsets of arrogance, mindsets of poor services, to the point that he realized he was wasting his time, and then he lowered himself. He became the foolish one. But right now, as we speak, who has more dignity? Who has more dignity? The one who has failed to build roads for his countrymen, or the one who has built a hospital to look after the sick, or the one who has been fighting for another country that has given him opportunities to grow in the army ranks? This is what is missing in the story. Now, I belong to the Christian faith. My favorite verse is Matthew 7:24 or Matthew 24:7. One of those two, but I think it is 7:24, which says, "Therefore, whoever hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man." So if the government of Uganda hears these words of mine and write an apology to Mr. Musisi, that will be a wise government. If even the government here hears these words of mine and puts them into practice by writing a promotion record on his file, that will be a wise government. The same scripture, Matthew 7:24, says, "Therefore, whoever hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man." A foolish man in Uganda is Timu Habura, the one who cannot be advised. We will see which government is Timu Habura and which is not. God bless.